MakingStarWars.net.
Spaceships, it's not about spaceships. Yeah, it is. How's it going, everybody? I'm Jason Ward from MakingStarWars.net. And
bastard, it's stuck in my head forever now.
Hi, Rob.
Years from now, when they finally make a movie, Jason, I'm gonna line up. I'm gonna be all excited. And that song's gonna hit, and I'm gonna hear it's not about space.
Yeah.
You bastard.
All right. I want your guys' opinion on this, okay? So a few days ago, well, I had the scoop that Acolyte had wrapped, okay? And it was like, I think it's officially wrapped now. But like what I had was, it was fucking wrapped. So it's like, at what level do you know, when does it start? When does it begin? It's always a bit of an arbitrary date at the end of the day. So, but this I wanted to show you was the industry started to report that it had wrapped now, and I noticed a little something.
Oh, now it's real.
Now it's real. Bespin Bulletin writes that Acolyte had been filming since October in the United Kingdom. Then the industry article, the Acolyte started filming in October in the UK, with filming taking place primarily at Shinfield Studios located in Berkshire.
You don't say.
In Berkshire. In addition, the production ventured out to various locations around the UK. Okay. The production also ventured out to various locations around the country, including, and then at the Brecon Beacons National.
Too, huh?
Yeah. They fucking, it sounds to me, you know, I don't know. I've only had to call out students for plagiarism before, and I would fucking definitely call that out as plagiarizing not only my information and calling it your own, but Bespin Bulletins as well. The writing actually from Bespin Bulletin, you know, and that's from KFTV.com.
What if they got so lazy, Jason, that they also put in like Bespin's Patreon information? Like they forgot to edit that out.
Yeah.
Like, would it be okay then?
Yeah. So most likely they saw I'm going to assume saw what we did, and then went and used the industry side to confirm it, and then it confirmed. Well, darling, it's ours now. And I've also been told that that's on the Wikipedia page now. That's the world that we live in. So I've been reading that book.
Hold on. Do you know what today is?
Today's Dave Filoni's birthday.
It's my birthday.
It's your birthday.
Oh
Dave, you know what Dave did? Dave announced the Ahsoka show on the Ahsoka series. I don't like saying Ahsoka show. That sounds fucking stupid. I'm not saying it anymore. Ahsoka series. Yeah. Hi everybody, it's the Ahsoka show. That's not. It sounds fucking stupid.
Thank God it's Filoni. TGIF, Jason.
But and then it comes out on my birthday, Dave. Did you do that on purpose? Are we a dyad?
I did.
A weird?
I did.
A dyad of weird?
Oh, it's a dyad too.
Of weird, yeah.
Jason, I'm gonna take all that. You know, we just like to take whatever you write anyway and just go finders keepers.
Let's give it to KFTV. Let Bespin Bulletin and Making Star Wars who made about $1 yesterday. Yesterday was a very bad day for us.
God.
We made it. Well, I had a great super chat yesterday of $15.
He got my 50-cent tip.
Yeah,
he got my 50-cent tip.
But he wrote articles, and I made 15 times more than him off of his super chat. But that's how bad we are. That's how bad it's going. But I'm reading.
We gotta go Sizzler, Jason. You know, I'm gonna get some hot cheesy bread, some watermelon. How about some of that? The little Shirley Temple.
We can't, Dave, because every time we go out to a restaurant, you tell them it's your birthday to get the free cake, and then when it's your birthday,
you on to me. Honestly, George taught me that one. He taught me that one. His birthday's all over the world. You can just go. That's why you shoot in other countries. He told me because you can go everywhere's your birthday. Ain't gonna check it. Ain't gonna check in Tunisia.
During my early 20s, whenever I would go out to bars and clubs, I used to always just say it was my birthday. It's my birthday. That was just like my saying. And in the work, I get and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, they don't like it at the funeral home though. Anyway,
fuck, dude. That got dark, dude. But
oh man, I don't know where that one came from. What would be the one place they wouldn't care about your birthday? It would be the funeral home, right?
The funeral homes, yeah. They're like, right? This is a death day place, not a birthday place. We don't care.
Elmo shrug, right?
Shrug. What do you call it? I was gonna say, thank you, Justin, but it's not really my birthday. My birthday's in.
I'm the one doing all the fucking work here. You know what I mean? Where's my tip?
Hey.
Damn it.
Thank you, Justin. My birthday's on August 23rd when Ahsoka comes out. Today's Dave's birthday, but I'll take it. But no. So, anyways, I'm reading that book we were talking about earlier in the week by Maureen Ryan called "Burn It Down," and I think I may have got through the chunk of the Lucasfilm content, but not all of it. We talked earlier in the week about what happened on Lost. And once again, at the end of that Lost chapter, it's kind of, it's cringy and pathetic the way that Lindelof's like, what about my career? At that last point, but I also understand it because that's a natural thing to say, not justifying that shit. To his credit, later on in that book, he does go like, oh, there's systemic issues that lead to these issues. Like he doesn't go like, nah, it's in your head. I just wanted to say it doesn't absolve him. It doesn't absolve the history, so to speak. And I don't know what the answer is. I don't know, what you do. I have no idea. That's the whole thing about like so far with the book. It's like, well, what do you do? But you end up with at least, I don't think the guy's a piece of shit is my point. I think he literally wants to be a good person and a better person for the industry for what it's worth, and because I love Lost and I was really looking forward to his Star Wars like offering, and so I thought the whole thing is
nearly every owner of a professional sports league donates to the Republican Party and to fucking cop unions. What are you supposed to do then? Are all you guys going to stop going to the fucking games? Like, I don't know what to do about it. Like,
that's what this book says. Basically, says what you just said. It gets really? Into it. Well, yeah, it not specifically in that way, but in the sense that a lot of executives are right wing themselves, or because Hollywood only cares superficially about demographics, it will cater to those demographics. So therefore, Hollywood is we have this whole perception of it being like this like left wing, fucking thing. When you really get down to it, though, everything is super safe. Everything is like a lot of the times like the people are put into roles superficially. They're not really allowed to, like at the end of the day, like they might put somebody of color in a position on a show about people of color, and then only to later on be told that's not relatable, which really means like white it up.
This isn't the same thing, but it's similar. We were watching the Muppets, right? The 2015.
It goes into that. It goes into that one big time. Yeah, there's a lot on the Muppet. Oh yeah. It was.
I do like that series. Don't ruin it for me. But there's a scene right where there's this scene where Kermit's trying to get like some advice on what to get his new girlfriend. He has a new girlfriend in that show, a birthday present, and there's like 3 different Muppets in the room. They're all guys, and there's one human chick, and then they never talk to her about it. And they're just spinning their wheels, right?
Right.
And then
Well,
finally Kermit decides to go ask Miss Piggy, his ex-girlfriend, for help versus asking the woman in the writer's room. And it's a
yeah.
writer's room, you know? Like, and I'm like,
Mhm.
that is a subtle joke, but that is true. There's a woman right back there, and they don't even
Oh,
bring it up.
I didn't watch it, but that showing up in that show based off of what they were talking about, that doesn't sound. Yeah, that sounds like it was. That was definitely commenting on the reality of what they were dealing with on that show. And
Yeah, it sucks.
there's like always the ongoing theme throughout it where you have like dudes in a writer's room or in a room, and then they're like telling jokes, and then they get too comfortable and they tell a joke, and then all of a sudden, or I don't know if all of a sudden is the right way to put it, but it's not funny. The person they told the joke to, like the woman, like in a closed office with just them, doesn't find it funny, and then it's like, oh, and then like now it's like a problem. I don't know how they deal with that. I mean, the only way you deal with this, you just can't do it. But then you also have that thing. But like she mentions in the Lost chapter, or I think it was the Lost chapter, that a lot of times people will have a misstep and then they will be called out on it, and then they'll be like, "Oh, I'm sorry," and then they don't do it again. But some of the people like continue to do it, and it's like an ongoing problem. Like I was kind of bummed about like Jeff Garland from Curb Your Enthusiasm and the Goldbergs, which is also related to the Muppets. And like it kind of lays out, like when you just hear like the Jeff Garland stuff like by itself, you're like, okay, yeah, it's a social faux pas. He was hugging people when he wasn't supposed to. But then when you kind of hear that this isn't like the first time people said quit it, and it's like, and it happened on like Curb Your Enthusiasm, and there was people paid out on Curb, you're like, oh, it starts to paint a different picture. You know what I mean? And even like I even have to call myself out on when I was laughing at the like Shelley Duvall stuff. You remember we were talking like, well, at the end of the day, if it makes great art, like there's a whole chapter in
Well,
that
you don't
book.
have to
No,
torture your fucking.
right,
And
right.
I
Well,
mean,
but I was
right,
joking, but there's actually a chapter on that, and it
right.
lays out how exactly like abusive those moments actually are. And I was like, oh shit. I was like, I felt bad. I felt bad for being like, at the end of the day, I was scared that the art's good,
Well,
but
plus,
but when you hear it, yeah.
not everyone's, trauma. It's not an Olympics, right? Like
Hmm.
some people don't deal with things as well as others, right? And
Yeah.
just because someone deals well with something now doesn't mean they're actually dealing with it well at all.
Right.
Like they
Hmm.
may be back there, they may be not sane. I mean, that's why it's like if an actor chooses to go method, that's an actor's choice. But if a director decides to terrorize their fucking staff to get, a great performance, that it's like, what are we doing? Like you could get they're fucking paid to act. They're not. I don't know. Like may as well
Oh,
just bring,
yeah.
real weapons to set and actually shoot people. Right?
Right.
Ridiculous.
Yeah. No, I mean, it just lays out like even
But what's
the
the
author of the
difference?
book developed the show for 3 years and was like, I didn't have a bad experience developing my show. The show never came out, but didn't have a bad experience, and like it doesn't need to be the way that it is.
Oh, you know who talks
Is the
about
point.
this really
Hmm.
well in a way was if you ever get the Criterion. Maybe it's on a Blue right now, but it was definitely on the Criterion of the Rock, right? The
Okay.
movie The Rock, the Michael Bay movie. Criterion put out the
Yeah.
Rock DVD, and on the audio commentary, Ed Harris is on there, right? And he
Hmm.
gets back in the mindset, and so he does The Rock just a few years after The Abyss. Remember, he
Yeah.
almost died on The Abyss. There's a
Hmm.
whole story where there's that scene where he's falling at the end, like he's going down to the whatever, and they had to shoot that. They shot it sideways because the tank wasn't that deep, so they shot it sideways to make it look like he was really falling. But his helmet that he was wearing was really filled with liquid in the movie.
Yeah.
It's not like a trick.
Yeah.
It's filled with. He can't
In,
breathe when he's in there.
in the movie, if you've never seen The Abyss, they breathe like a liquid oxygen into their lungs, so it's
Right.
like that's
Which the rat really breathed, but Ed Harris isn't breathing that. It's not, no humans can really use that right now. So like
Mhm.
they just filled it with liquid. It's not like a piece of plastic with some liquid in there and he's
Yeah.
fine. It's filled so he can't breathe. and he's got that helmet on, and he's underwater shooting these scenes. And so they went to go give him oxygen, right? And like the fucking respirator was broke and basically like shoved water into his lungs, and they didn't know, and they did it like 2 or 3 times, and then he almost died. It was a whole thing. So he's doing the audio commentary, and he's talking about how Michael Bay was trying to like emulate his work style, like James Cameron.
One sec. Sam says it's hard to hear you, but that he could hear me, but I could hear you fine. So if anybody else is having a problem hearing Rob, can you just let us know in the chat? But continue. I think you're fine. It might be a stereo issue for Sam. But go ahead. Just wanted to.
Yeah, everything automatically detect volume. I mean, it's all set.
Yeah, I could hear you. So you sound. I can hear that. I can hear that chocolate voice. So, yeah. But sorry.
The mic is right in front of my face. So I mean, it's literally on my mouth. So
okay. Justin could hear us fine. So good.
Yeah.
So thank you, Justin. All right, go ahead. Go on.
Even though I have to draw during the show, folks, I have a mic in front of my face. It's not fun. Yeah. So anyway, so he's talking about Michael Bay's working style. Michael Bay at the time was trying to mimic himself after James Cameron, and what I take that to mean is he was just abusive on set, like verbally, right? And so Ed Harris is saying in the documentary, he's like, "Look, I pulled Michael aside. I told him, you don't. I work with Jim. You don't, because everyone calls you. I work. You don't have to be like that. It's not necessary, you know." And that's a lesson James Cameron himself had to fucking learn. But like, right. I don't know if that ever. Given how like Megan Fox and them have complained, you know what I mean, about Michael Bay since, I don't think he ever learned that lesson. You know what I mean? But like the sincerity in Ed's voice when he tells the story, and it's very real. Like you can hear. It's not. I don't know. It sounds different. It sounds like the dude is still. I mean, the dude almost. I mean, I love The Abyss, but that never should have happened, right? Like that never. Yeah. There's no fucking excuse for it,
Yeah, that's kind of what it kind of got into on that front. And so on the Star Wars front, it'll be better. We'll have an article on bestspinbulletin.com up like probably tomorrow, if not tonight, but probably tomorrow, I'd say. And because I'm going through and I'm annotating what's in the book, and then I'm tossing it over to Bespin so he can use it. And but there's like a story in there, and that story is basically a woman. Most of the names are pseudonyms, so, and it doesn't say who the executive is, and so I won't guess. You guys could guess if you want, but I won't, because I don't want to, say it's somebody when they're innocent, But I can say that it, like, in my own personal experience with Lucasfilm, I have seen exactly what they're talking about. And so what happened is this person is a creative, and they're hired onto a Star Wars show. It sounds like it's a show, like it's a cartoon or a TV show, and she thinks she's going to be in a position of like being basically like the second in command and really like a creative force that's going to really be able to offer a lot and also progress and have accolades for if the work connects and is good, right? It ends up being a situation where she is babysitting a dude. His pseudonym starts with a D. Is that a hint? Uh-oh. I don't know, but it is.
Oh, no. No.
It's like Dan or something like that. I can't remember what it was. But point being, he can't write scripts. They're all shit. This person basically has to go and get him in line, get his management in line, and also make sure his work is good. And then if the work is good, he gets the credit. And if the work fails, she's fucked. That's the reality of the situation. And whenever this person expressed these concerns to people at Lucasfilm, a lot of times other executive women, they were like, yeah. But the thing about it is, and this is where I know that this is fucking true, is that they are so about catering and fostering the quote creative, making sure that creative. And I don't know if this is common throughout the industry, but I know at Lucasfilm, and this has been something I said on the show 100 times, Lucasfilm was set up to cater to the needs of one white man, right? George fucking Lucas. And in this instance, in that era, that's what he made. He's like, I am making this company so you guys can make my vision and do what I fucking want you to, and I'm going to pay you and compensate you to do the thing I want you to do. And this is my analysis, by the way, that I'm adding right here about George Lucas and that. But it ends up being a situation where that becomes the culture, I think. Now here we are, and a lot of those people, and oftentimes women, I would say, I've seen them go around and fawn over like making sure that Dave Filoni's vision is met. And it's all about Dave. And I've seen the people do it, and they do kind of, I'm not saying it's Dave Filoni or Dave Filoni needs this, but they do it's just like, is Dave happy? Is Dave okay? What does Dave need? And like, that's how they are. And like, I'm here to facilitate Dave, like that's how it is. So I could definitely see how a creative person comes aboard Lucasfilm in the modern times, and then all of a sudden is met with, oh, join us in babysitting homeboys. Like, and you are secondary to the auteur. And that's sort of what is laid out in that book, that's like the big problem that this person has. And I 100% believe it. I think that happened. I also, I don't fucking, me. I mean, I do whatever I want. I don't really care about playing to them. I don't play to them. But I would say that I would not be surprised if that was sort of a ramification of that original culture, and that they didn't realize that they were doing it, but they are. And so that's the good thing I think about that book, about this book, and is that it in very human ways it presents the situation. And sometimes like Lindelof, like, I have empathy for Lindelof in the sense that nobody set up how to do this right, and how to not, perpetuate systems that are fucked up. Nobody set him up with that. He's doing his best. But at the same time, I feel a hell of a lot worse for like the actor who played Walt's dad. Is it Michael? Was his name Michael? The character Michael? It's been a long time since I watched Lost, but Walt's dad, and who's a great actor, and then comes in, and gets fucking sidelined, like, and then ends up getting pushed out and has his career fucking damaged, and then gets the fucking stick. Like, I feel a hell of a lot worse for him, especially after reading this book. So, anyways, it's we'll have more on it. There's a lot more of like little kind of little tidbits on Lucasfilm and Star Wars throughout it. And it's definitely Star Wars. She doesn't say Star Wars, but it can't be Willow and it can't be Indiana Jones. So what else does Lucasfilm do? So on that one, and
strange magic.
Strange magic. No, it's definitely during the Disney era. I would say it's definitely like not that far back. And I, for a second, I was like, oh, and the show was successful, as it also says. And once again, how do you define success? I don't know on that one. So it's like, it starts to sound like Mandalorian when you think of success, but then you're like, well, the Star Wars Rebels successful, because you got a lot of guys on that one that it could have been between, you know what I mean? There was a lot of big names on that too. So it's it's like trying to figure it out is sort of like a weird situation. But interesting book though, Rob, in your opinion, if I play the Ahsoka TV spot, will we get demonetized because of and taken down because of that music? You think so?
We get demonetized the minute we like curse, So they just don't share the video, is what they'll do. So like, they do stuff like that. So, hey, jokes on Nuntu. So Nuntu likes to say, if you mute Rob, it'd be better. Jokes on this cat, right? If this cat was following the show, they'd remember the time I did a whole episode where I didn't speak. Remember?
Yeah.
For an hour and a half.
Yeah, that happened. You could always go back to that one. I didn't even tell
you I was going to go there.
I mean, we call it a classic episode.
Yeah.
All right.
I suspect on our Indiana Jones review, there's going to be a lot of that.
All right. We're just gonna see what happens. I'm gonna
All
play
right, let's watch it. Let's watch
TV spot for you guys.
I want to
The
watch it.
Ahsoka announcement trailer. Here we go.
All right.
And you could talk over it if you want to, Rob. I don't care.
It's been a while. Things have changed. I started hearing whispers about Thrawn's return as heir to the Empire. We have to prepare for the worst. The Jedi fell a long time ago. There aren't many left.
Perhaps it is time to begin again.
Well, that'll teach you guys for
shot,
not paying attention. I don't know why that was so loud. That was insanely loud. Sorry, guys.
She looked tiny, like that shot when Red, like when they cut to her. I don't know. She looked microscopic. Maybe it's because it goes from the hologram to that shot with her, and they're almost in the same spot. But it was just a weird cut where I'm like, oh, she looks tiny, like almost look like micro machines.
Well, there's the Jedi. I mean, the most hilarious cut in the whole thing though is when they show Hai Young at the end. He's like, maybe it's time to start again, and then they show her like shaking a droid, and he looks like it makes you think it's him.
Right.
You know.
Right.
But yeah, right here we can see when it opens up, we have some X-wings, and it looks like a Ahsoka ship, and it's flying past that tower. And inside that tower is the tower that Ezra Bridger used to live in Star Wars Rebels. Remember the shot yesterday where we saw them looking outside and like the sun was coming in to the inside, and we were like talking about the lighting was good. Most likely it's inside there. Yeah,
I see.
And so I'm guessing that I don't know. I'm guessing the New Republic escorts Ahsoka to Sabine or where she's at or something like that. But
I just want to, before we get too into this, just to kind of wrap up what you were saying about like, you know, culture and movie studios. I just want to remind people the entertainment industry, whether it's films, video games, t-shirts, it's actually not corporate. It is at the top, but it's very much more like a restaurant. It's very skill labor, trade labor based. And so you, like in a restaurant, you have people who own or investors who own the restaurant, right? And those people, they got money. But everyone else bussing tables, cooking food, they're working their asses off for fucking nothing, you know? And so, like, there aren't HR departments at a restaurant, right? Like, and so cultures get built up. And even if there is like someone you speak to, they're really there to keep the restaurant going because the profit margins are so slim, blah, 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 blah. So it doesn't matter how high end that restaurant is or how, you know, street level it is. At the end of the day, it's, you know, it's like a skill and it's a skill labor, trade labor situation masquerading as entertainment, you know? And now a lot of these studio systems are the exact same way. Yeah. So we can say, hey, because this movie affected my life or it meant something to me, these are big prestigious studios and like, but you know, they should mean something. They should. The reality is it's much more, you know, like if you don't do this job this way, you'll be gone tomorrow. There'll be someone else. We can always just run out and get somebody else kind of like deal. It's not like a job where, you know, there's a severance package and you're getting weekends off and you have a 401k. It's not that kind of job. It should be, but it has historically been ran the other way, and it masquerades as being bigger than it really is, you know, or that's together.
That's pretty much in line with a lot of what she is saying in that book. With not your analogy specifically, but that if there is a disconnect, and then when you have the people who are like managers, even breaks down one management style that's like so insane that the person yells at everybody and then has to do everything themselves, and then it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy for the insanity that will go on, you know. And one other last thing before we leave that behind, I would say like the opening chapter's thesis of the book is that the shit that goes on in Hollywood affects our daily lives because it presents a version of truth that we end up buying into, and it uses essentially what was that show 24, then you have military people in Afghanistan and Iraq watching 24 on DVD that believe that torture is going to white people torturing brown people, usually Middle Eastern, is going to yield results. And it goes on shortly after that to show Donald Trump being a successful businessman who's a guy which is also a fabrication, and who tells it like it is and is just there to get shit done. And then he becomes the president. So those sorts of ideas that Hollywood propagates and pushes forward can be fucking dangerous. And they can be really, really sort of evil and wrong and lead us down wrong paths and stuff like that. So I think it's sort of like, in a weird way, if we fix inaccurate depictions in Hollywood from being so prominent, it might actually kind of make society somewhat better. Not gonna solve everything, but might help. So I'm like, it's hard to argue with to a degree, and I don't really have any arguments against it, but I'm not done with the book yet. So but right now I'm saying it's a good read. Right now, it's definitely in the good read category. And if the last chapters don't fall off, a lot of times books could be front heavy, with really good front chapters, especially when it's sort of ethnographic or researched and journalistic. And then the back chapters have less time, less care, less love. And they figure most people won't read it because they're just going to read the juicy stuff, depending on the editor. So I'm not sure what to expect, but so far the book's great.
A lot of video games are built that way too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, so back to the Ahsoka thing. We have our this trailer, this announcement date trailer is really, I think, geared towards Star Wars Rebels people. Like it starts off with the Star Wars Rebels, you know what I mean? Like location, one of the most heartfelt locations from Lothal. And then so on this shot, as I'm looking at Lothal in live action in this way right here, I'm like, number one, not the best looking thing I've ever seen, but at the same time, not unlike Empire Strikes Back. I mean, it really kind of looks like it in certain ways. I think they kind of got that feeling on here. I'm curious to see how audiences take.
I think though, Kirshner and them created a better wind effect on the docking bay, right? Like when we go to speak Lando, it's pretty windy out there.
Yeah.
So when I'm not, I mean,
well, her hair is blowing. Yeah.
So
I'd have to look at it again, but I don't want to play. I can't turn that volume down, so I don't want to turn it back on. I don't know what's going to happen.
Right.
Might blow somebody up.
Also, no handrails, so consistent.
No handrails. We got that right there.
Looks like they're on a set because they're on a set. Like,
yeah.
Like,
and then,
sorry, but it's very hard. There's a reason why you don't shoot typically in the middle of the day.
Rob looks at her and goes, "It's very hard." Sorry,
I know. Thank you, Beavis. Appreciate
that.
But
look at her orange shirt. I didn't notice that. She has like an orange Luke Skywalker shirt almost.
Right. I'd have to say what's probably missing from that exterior shot is the lack of. This is one of my complaints, not just about this, but every digital show, is there's just a lack of lenses, or lens artifacts or grain or anything that kind of like roots the image into something tangible.
Mm-hmm.
When it's super clear and it looks, digital, I don't know. It's missing a level of canvas.
Yeah.
To sort of ground it in a way that. I mean, imagine if ET was shot with a 4K super clean camera. It wouldn't look good. ET would look like shit. Like, I'm just letting you know right now. It would not hold up. Or you need helps tie a lot of that together.
There was an ET short made like a year or two ago. You could like literally see what it looks like if you want to. I think it was with Henry Thomas as Elliot as an adult.
The commercial.
The commercial. Yeah. So Jake says that really looks like Lothal to me, and then Seth follows up with, the city looks more shiny than it did in the rest of the series in the Rebels epilogue. Yeah, like in the Rebels epilogue, you see the city like revitalized like in the distance. And then, but if we want to like split hairs on it too, like the skyline is different in the show than it is in there. So in your brain, you could justify it with the show was showing you a different time and the skyline has changed within that time. As the city was like revitalized, this is like the latest version of it, but at the same time, it's just really just one of those differences between cartoons and live action. You know, when you get down to it, that's all that it really is. And I am thinking that the costumes, or I am justifying the clean, perfect costumes with, or everything's perfect with the fact that this is like a new Republic person. This is like supposed to be like going back towards the Phantom Menace, and when you see Ahsoka, it's not as, it's way more lived in. Like her bracers, like the edges are like missing the shit. You know what I mean? Like, so I am a little bit like hoping that that's what they're going for, and that we find some consistency in these things as we watch through. We may not though. We may not. Not trying to justify a bad call if it is a bad call. And then right here we see like a little tiny ship. It's like an Imperial ship, and it's landing on this bigger ship. So what the fuck, dude? What is that? Is that like the Chimera? Is this Thrawn arriving? Because there is a shot where you see it looks like maybe Pelion welcoming like a Thrawn type character or somebody to the ship, and I keep wondering if that's what that is. But for all we know, this is just like Pelion meeting Morgan Elsbeth or something. You know what I mean? Because she's a powerful contractor in the Empire. And then right here we could see Ahsoka on Corvus again. And like I said, my impression from talking to multiple sources is that 4 of the episodes take place starting in the New Republic and is basically adjacent to Mando 2. And then the second half is somewhere between Mando 3 and 4. I don't know if it will matter but definitely after season 2. So do with that what you will. That is the best. So right here, that's the best guess I got. And then this right here, we see this little ship landing, and then like see the guy on the left that looks like might be Pelion to me. And then so is this like where he's finally, Thrawn comes out, and does he fucking give him a big old wet kiss? I missed you, daddy, my blue daddy, I missed you. Or is this fucking Morgan Elsbeth? I just feel like it's either most likely Morgan or Thrawn, based off of the what appears to be some sort of like, I'm Pelion, I'm gonna go meet you in the docking bay. That sounds like it would be an important person and not like Shin or something, right? But that could be Shin Ship, huh? Is that Shin Ship? Fuck, I have to look up the cockpit. That might be Shin Ship. Shin Ship.
All I know, Jason, is Filoni likes to shoot ears. A lot of ears in the shots. Reverse shot ears.
Yeah. I like to say Shin Ship. All right, here you go. This is for you, dude.
More ears.
Some Mads Mikkelsen ears.
Maybe he's got an ear fetish.
I hear you. Stupid.
Good one. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's my kind of stupid. Hey, we're gonna meet Jason. He's not taking it serious. Oh, look at that.
Yeah, this is one of the most. This is the most important day.
Myraid Pro. Yeah, August 23rd.
So people say like it's the most important day in Lucasfilm
looks
history.
Like a little butt. Does it look like a butt or boobs? Which one do you think? Which one do you think he's going for?
I mean, I always feel like the 3 is a nutsack. Sideways.
Oh, shit. You got me on that one, dude.
Yeah, that's what I see. So
no, that's all I see. All right.
Did you know that not only is it my birthday, but River Phoenix and Ray Parks? It's true. That's why, and it's the release date of Ahsoka, which makes it the most important day in Lucasfilm history. I've decided myself.
I know you mentioned Ray Park. The 2 looks kind of like a penis, doesn't it? Like if you look
Aw.
at it from a certain
Hey.
angle. What?
Hey, come on, man. We've all partied too hard once,
We've all
twice.
parked.
I mean,
we've all
we've all parked once or twice. I mean, even Marty's mom was parking. Remember? All right.
Yeah. There.
So right here, we once again have that really clean New Republic, cleaner than Return of the Jedi. And like I said before, man, the costumes, I heard on Mando 3 that there was a lot of like costume fucking issues, like where they were just not giving enough money, and then they were like having to do creative things to get the money. And that book mentions that the person who was unhappy working for that executive, that they brought their shit in on budget on the previous projects that they'd ever been on, and Lucasfilm was like, oh, you could go over budget, like we just don't give a shit. Basically going over budget is like expected because, you know, it's us. And but what's funny was that lines up with what I was hearing about Mando 3 into Skeleton Crew with Ahsoka adjacent, is that if they were skimping on costumes, paying a lot more for the Mando costumes, knowing that it was gonna eat up the budget, and then that the other costumes would be not usable, and that they would have to up the other costumes as best as they could. And so that's what they did. But when you look at like this guy right here, like if you compare this guy's costume to General Madine's Return of the Jedi costume, it doesn't hold up.
Right.
And that's the kind of thing, the kind of stuff that was going on. And for the record, I heard that the Ahsoka production was not like a bad place. I heard it was the place you wanted to be. You didn't want to be on Mando 3, and you definitely didn't want to be on Skeleton Crew, but Ahsoka was like, that was the one to be on. You know, that's the one that everybody seemed to be jealous because of the working environment and stuff. But this guy's costume does exemplify those cut corners. It probably fucking doesn't matter, but the truth is it ends up in a trailer shot, and we're waiting for the show, so it gets scrutinized. You know, at the end of the day, probably we might see this guy for a second. I don't know, but you know, is what it is. But I do like, and his costume once again looks like it's fucking brand spanking new, so perfect, everything like that. But I like seeing the little Mon Call guy there, even though, you know, I don't mind. I don't mind seeing some little weirdos like that. And then we got Mon Mothma from the hologram, which we've of course like already seen like a lot. And you know, the story goes,
Mon Cals, Jason, it's when these Mon Cals talk, I tend to have the issues.
Yeah.
You know, I have not seen one Mon Cal speak.
Well,
Admiral Akbar, that is like, you know, it's not gone well.
I'm of the opinion that the Admiral Akbar thing is actually fucking ridiculous. We have just grown up with it. Like, I think if Admiral Akbar came out today, we'd be like, fucking, what are you doing? You know what I mean? And it's just absurd, but I don't know. Sometimes I might write stuff off too easily with that kind of like excuse or whatever. But, you know, it is what it is. Now, right here, it looks like this is the Phantom. This is the little ship that goes in the Ghost. And then they're like, I don't know. It looks like something has been picked up by another ship, and they're chasing that. But this could also be related to that shipyard. So I'm not sure if this is just stuff leaving the shipyard and the Phantom like sort of chasing a perp through it. Hard to say. And then we got the shot that we talked about yesterday with Hera, a little bit of lens flare. I captured it for JJ. And then we have the shot of Chopper. He looks great. Chopper looks like Chopper. Doesn't look too clean. He's got his scratches. He's got his dirt. You know what I mean? Like, it's there. So that makes me happy. But of course, they know how to make the droids really well, and usually they do. And then this is that shot of Ezra, and this is what I saw. This is how I first saw this guy back in the day when they were filming that. And I'm gonna guess, he's gonna look a lot different actually in the show. And then we kind of already looked at this before, but that's Ahsoka, I guess. I'm not Ahsoka. That's Sabine in his old place in that tower, I think, watching the hologram, going like, I promised this guy I'd get him back. I gotta get him back. And then right here is where we get like
it's a tiny shot.
Yeah,
Look
she's
at it
tiny.
Right there. Like
She's tiny, dude.
tiny
Yeah.
There's something about the scale to everything makes her look even like action figure size.
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
She's tiny. I mean, it might
I can't pin it.
it might be
Something
that
about-
the background's not real. And
yeah, there's something Indian.
And
I
that's-
can't say that, right? Like I can't.
yeah,
Native
it might.
American in a cupboard. You know what I mean? Like. It's
Oh
something
yeah.
very- yeah.
Well, it is called Indian in the cupboard, whether it's right or not. That is what this fucking thing is called. But yeah,
Thanks. For
yeah,
that.
that is yeah, that might be it. Might be the scale, or like it might be like a really tall door that's designed for fucking Zeb Aurelios to be able to walk through with no problem.
I'm not
and
going to
then
hyper
you have
focus
her.
on it. I'm just saying.
You just did.
Nope. If I say I'm not going to do it, then I could take it all back. Like...
So here, this is almost your ear shot, but it has a lightsaber in it, so it doesn't get the ear. It gets you see her green saber, and then that's what I had heard was that
That's what I look like when I pull out my key fob to get in the car, right? Like,
right.
Right.
Yeah, and then right here we see Sabine with the saber. So I told you guys these guys would fight, and there it is.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if there's more than one, if there's two. I'm not sure if this is the Nodian Highlands, but you remember when I had that picture of that elevator at night from the Ahsoka set?
I do not.
Okay, I had this picture and it was filmed that night. So I was actually like on a date, and she's like, "Can you take me to that place? I want to see it." And I was like, "Yeah." So we went there. And it was this set right here outside at night. So this is actually filmed. I believe this part right here is filmed outside in the El Segundo area, out in that yard, out at the train yard. But it was weird. It was like this little like almost like a almost triangle shape kind of thing. The way the set moved out, and they actually moved it around the a lot, So, but it was all lit up at night. I think 4 night shoots. So, and then right here we got our Michael Bay scene, which of course Aria messaged me about because she loves Michael Bay. I don't even think she really put that together, but she was like, "Oh shit." She's like, why did they blow up that place? So I just wrote her back and said Taco Bell. That's all I said. Just Taco Bell. But yeah, so if you remember, it looks like that area to where she goes to that world between worlds sort of section.
Yeah, I kind of remember that.
Balin meets her in there. And so I'm kind of wondering if was it nuked from space? Does it blow up? Like how does that happen? But it probably has something to do with.
We nuke it from space.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, man, I like that. It's a good plan. We should do that.
Yeah, but I mean,
fucking A, man.
Well, I'm curious if this ends up being why she doesn't just use that space to do other things, like travel places. You know what I mean? Like it does kind of seem like you can do that. In the world between worlds, you can use it to move around or whatever. So, Bespin Bulletin, you cannot send me a joke that funny and then say I can't read it out loud.
Oh, he wants to make those kinds of jokes.
But he's out. You can't read it out loud. But it was pretty funny. It was pretty funny. It was a zinger. All right. I'm laughing.
Send it to NunTube. You know,
Uh-oh.
They seem to be the arbiters of what's funny around here.
Wait, okay. I am trying to put the other image up. Yeah, and then we have this shot we saw back from Celebration where she breaks that window down. And as you know, I could tell this is all like artificial, you know, sort of volumey kind of stuff. A lot of those shots in that shipyard. I actually like the look and the use of color that Filoni is bringing in these moments. Like that whole place so far, from what I've seen, it actually like looks cool. I don't mind that it's not real. Looks a little Marvel-y in a way, I say, but still looks pretty good. Like, oh, I didn't get a good screenshot of this one. Sorry, guys, but this is Ahsoka falling down. This is where she's like falling down. But yeah, but I believe this to be the machine, if you will, of what Homegirl's making. Morgan Elsbeth, this is what she's making, I think, for Thrawn and his return and stuff like that. So I'm guessing Ahsoka stumbles upon it either when she's trying to find Morgan or after she finds Morgan. And like yesterday I was saying, people were like, oh, you know, why didn't she use magic if she's a witch and all of that stuff? But I know she's going to use the magic. She's going to use the magic. But you know, we don't really know what happened there, and we know that Morgan didn't die. So like I just joked that she turned into a fucking bat and flew away. Who knows? You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, like what happened there, you know? But and
like
what
Monster
Morgan
Squad when he turned into an animated bat? That's
yeah.
Like, yeah.
Or Batman when he turned into an animated bat? Kind of.
No, animated cape.
I know. It was cool though. It was
Not
cool.
quite the
You don't like it, but it was
No,
cool.
I don't like it.
And then right here we can see the revitalized Lothal. So like in the series, Rob, of Star Wars Rebels, Lothal is Ezra Bridger's planet. The Empire sort of shows up one day, and then it becomes sort of like, it looks like an oil refinery, almost like a Star Wars oil refinery eventually. And then we get this little epilogue in Rebels, and we see that it's turned into sort of a Ralph McQuarrie, Alderaan, Bespin, the planet, not the man, kind of place. So
I see.
Yeah, and then we have old Hai Young saying it's maybe you should start again. Maybe I think he wants Ahsoka to make a Jedi Order kind of thing, and I wondered about this moment because she just may go like, fuck that in her own way. I think that's what is the likely response, is some version of fuck that for Disney Plus. And that's probably all that happens. But we do have Hera in the series who has a son. The Lego leaks imply that the son, Jason Zandula, is going to be in the show. So the question I have is, does Jason show up early with Hera, or is it sort of maybe at the epilogue of the show? Because the show is going to, like I said, like the actual punch of the show is not good. The ending is actually not good. The good guys essentially lose, and the bad guys are revitalized and ready to strike the New Republic in some way now. And so it's a downer, right? A big Debbie Downer. But I'm curious if
it's a Damien Downer.
Well, do we end up with Ahsoka accepting her place in the galaxy, reconciling with her past by the end of it, and then maybe taking Jason Syndulla as a Padawan by the end of it? And could this moment right here actually be from the end, after the adventure's over and they've returned, for instance, and he's like, it's time to begin again, and then that's why Jason shows up, and like that's her Padawan. That might be the angle. And the other thing I would say too about all of this is there's always the hope that Ahsoka decides to do it her own way and takes on the Ronin motif we discussed yesterday on the show about how like she's essentially a Ronin. That's what they're implying. Maybe she is going to be so anti organized religion or institution that she's like, no, we're not going to be institutionalized. It's going to be a Jedi and a Padawan, and you're going to take them out into the world and you're going to teach them, and then you're going to let them go, and they're going to just bring good, and it's not going to be an organizational thing. And if that happened, I think that would actually be rather wise, because it would allow
Star Wars Santa learns that means you got to homeschool your kids. Right?
What? No, 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 but what it would do is it would allow for Kylo Ren to destroy Luke Skywalker's Jedi Temple, murder everybody in there, but then there's still to be these philosophical Jedi stragglers who exist out there, and it won't be as egregious as the situation we find ourselves in during the dark times, when we find out that there's like 10 Jedi who are alive and we hear their stories, and then we feel like there's too many for some. Like that, it wouldn't have that same kind of thing. So I kind of hope that's where this is going and where they're like taking it. And it would be interesting if Luke Skywalker and Ahsoka Tano are like have a disagreement, but it doesn't mean that they want to kill each other in an alley. It just means like, well, you do yours, I'm gonna do mine, and it's like a mutual respect is there, and nobody's saying there's a right way, and that they just both go about doing it. You know what I mean? Like in that sense, I'm kind of hoping that's what we get. Yes, and Seth brings up what I'm hinting on. There's an interview from Dave that came out with these photos that basically confirms Ahsoka is a way seeker, which died out during the High Republic. And when I hear that way seeker kind of concept and what it really is, and when I've been hearing the whole time that it's based off of these various sort of samurai films and stuff like that, she's a shogun, and they're calling a shogun a way seeker. And yeah, and the High Republic books talk about the way seeker concept. There's probably a good Wikipedia article on it if you would like further reading. But Royal says this is the way seeker. Yeah, that makes sense. But oh yeah, there was one more thing I want to cover before we wrap up today's show, and it's on Bespin Bulletin. There's a Star Wars website that you can give coffee to. So here we are, Balin Skull. I forgot about this one yesterday. Oh wait, I think I had to leave. Yes, yeah, I had to take the groceries to the kids yesterday. They were hungry. They were like, "Bring us the groceries. We want our chips and ice cream."
You want chicken and a biscuit?
Oh, I love chicken and a biscuit. I'd fuck that up right now, you piece of shit. Why did you say that?
I know our generation, Jason.
Fucking, you give me fucking, you know what I want right now, dude? Chicken and a biscuit with the candied cheese, fucking that cheese spray and a squirt.
I've been holding back mentioning the cheese spray, Jason. I swear to God.
you when you say that, it's like saying R2 and not 3PO. If you say it, we're gonna think that. So
do you go with the smoky cheese, the sharp cheddar, or the ham flavored cheese?
I don't like the artificial smoked flavor in things. Okay. You know? Yeah. So I usually like when I go out for like sushi, one of the only things that will ruin it is I don't like smoked salmon either. I if it's really, really good, I could go with it, but I try to avoid it. All right. Okay. So this is from yesterday, I think. Is today the 7th? Yeah, this is from yesterday on bestmanbulletin.com. The Mandalorian Season 3, Bo-Katan, Kryze, and Din Djarin kissed in an outtake. So Din, they kissed. Over the weekend, PHX fan fusion took place and featured an appearance from a star of The Mandalorian, Bo-Katan herself, the sack-off. Back off or sack off is what we always say over here. Took part in a Q&A session. We never say that. where she answered many questions from those in attendance. By the way,
she's very strong, Jason. She could kill us all. Don't with her bare hands. Don't start shit.
I knew this. We had this like weirdo friend. I could do a whole podcast on this weirdo guy I used to know, and he decided like he needed like a catchphrase, and his catchphrase at school was back off or jack off. And I was like, so you literally want people to jack off in front of you is what you're saying. And he'd get really mad. And then 10 minutes later, he would go back to saying back off or jack off. But anyways, he was a character. Anyways, Sackhoff's appearance is where she revealed that an outtake of The Mandalorian Season 3 featured her character Bo-Katan sharing a kiss with the series lead, Din Djarin. Before we continue with the Mandalorian news, I'd like to share that you can now support my work in two ways. Firstly, you could give me a super chat or be a channel. Oh no, this is for him. First is that he has a Patreon he made. So like, if you click right here, and then you just like go over here, like this is his Patreon right here. I want to show it. And for $3 a month, this tier does not have any perks. It's simply to support the work of bestmanbulletin.com. That's what it does. So do bestmanbulletin.com. Yeah, it's fair, support him. So or you can give him a coffee if you want to just give him a tip. And then if you do though, say here's just the tip like you like it. He'll love it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Send him a direct message with just that every time.
Yeah. Okay, so during this is from Bestman, back to the site. During the Q&A session, a fan asked Katie where her favorite, and he spelled favorite wrong again. This guy doesn't know how to spell. This guy asked Katie about her most emotional scene and involved Bo-Katan and Din. Katie was quick to reveal that her favorite, once again, he spelled favorite wrong again. Favorite moment was a scene from The Mandalorian Season 3, Episode 7, which was titled The Spies. Sackhoff revealed that her favorite moment of Bo and Neela is where Din declares his loyalty to Kryze and states that her song was yet to be written. Sackhoff joyfully said that it felt like Kryze and Din's Titanic moment, referencing an iconic scene with James Cameron's flick, which saw Leonardo DiCaprio's Jack holding on to Kate Winslet's Rose at the front of the iconic ship as Rose opens up her arms at sunset and declares she's flying as a rendition of Celine Dion's My Heart Will Go On plays. The moment from Katie might be an insight into how she sees the scene shared by Bo and Din, romantic. Sackhoff went on to reveal that in an outtake of the scene, Din, who was played by Brendan Wayne, kissed Sackhoff's crease through his helmet, which you can read Katie Sackhoff's comment below. Alternatively, you can watch the video. We'll read the comment. This is me as Katie Sackhoff, you guys. So back off or sack off. Okay, here it goes. The scene between Bo and Mando on the front of the boat is like our Titanic moment. It's like, I'm the queen of the world. I wanted to stand on the front of that boat. It was begging for me to do that. There's definitely an outtake where Brendan Wayne grabs my face and kisses me through the Mando helmet. So it's a joke, right? It was quite funny. Brendan Wayne is one of the men that wears the Mando suit. It was really fun. Yeah, that scene for me was really important because it's a scene where he says that your song is not yet written. It was so hard not to cry during that scene. It's such a sweet moment. That's what Katie says. So if he has the helmet on and he kisses her, it sounds like they're fucking around to me. Doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like he's not really gonna do it. And then I would imagine I wonder if they scripted that as a moment when they thought they might have Pedro for 24 hours. And then they just didn't. So it's like, what are they gonna do? Have him kiss through the helmet, But who knows? It seems as if the kiss itself wasn't anything of real significance and was just cut from the series, as I'd seen some fans claim on social media. Judging by Sackhoff's comments, it's possible it was just played for laughs by Brendan Wayne. That's what I think, based off the quote. It's also no surprise that the kiss would have taken place with Wayne, the actor who's primarily in the suit, alongside Lateef Crowder, as I reported throughout the production. I did too, man! I did too! The production of The Mandalorian Season 3, Pedro Pascal was not present for filming. Yeah, he just never was.
You read that, like the end of those medical commercials where they have to read that little
Oh, right.
You know, the
I
Eula or whatever down there. You know,
I wanted.
Pedro was an iPhone for filming. Like,
I was originally going for game over, man, game over. And if a kiss was planned between Bo and Din, you'd assume that Pascal would most certainly have been present for that moment. And that's what I wonder if they're like alluding to, though. Was that supposed to be a thing, and then it was like just pulled out, and then they mocked it? But anyways, it's unknown if Pascal will be featured in the filming of The Mandalorian Season 4, which was originally penciled in for a late September start. No, he's not. But he has since suffered a delay due to an unknown time due to the Writers Guild of America strike. Pascal was not available for filming of The Mandalorian Season 3 due to his commitment to HBO's The Last of Us, which filmed its first season during July. Blah, 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 blah. It seems that history is set to repeat itself. The Last of Us 2 is slated to film from the end of 2023 until the later half of 2024. And we were talking the other day, he's doing another film too. I don't know if you put that in there, but I'm getting tired of reading. Sorry. Sakov goes on to say that she, like many others, is shipping Din and Bo, adding that she had conversations about how the two would make love. A comment I'm sure will send some fans into a bit of a frenzy. Oh, girl, fucking up. We all know it's just doggy style and it's crude. As the appearance featured a Q&A, Sakov was asked multiple questions by those in attendance at the PHX Fan Fusion event. Some other answers of interest included Katie Sackhoff revealing that she frequented the Ahsoka set, the next Star Wars series to be released, but did not confirm if Bo-Katan would appear in the upcoming series, and refused to answer a question in regards to Bo-Katan ever leading her own live-action series or movie. Sackhoff reportedly didn't give an answer, but instead simply smiled and moved on. Throughout the season, many Mandalorian fans noted romantic chemistry between Din and Bo-Katan. I personally didn't get that vibe from the series they shared. I saw the relationship as one that started off on a sour note but evolved into one of respect, equality, and perhaps friendship. Clearly, Sakhoff sees it different, and maybe it opens the door for a future romantic coming together for the twosome, but time will only tell. Yeah, that's my whole thing about it. Is I wrapped up this season with this just because of the way it concludes with that same take as Bespin, but I also feel like he's a dude who's just not in touch with his with himself. He's very much into that code, and she doesn't strike me as the kind to go put on a fucking dress and be like hold me. So I almost think that if they were to have any kind of chemistry, I don't think there would be a lot of pretense to it if you were to write those characters true to what we know the men as and what we've seen. So I think the fans that are seeing it there are probably seeing as much as is going to be there if it ever is there. And the characters are respected. You know what I mean? Does that make sense to you, like what I'm saying? Or does that sound wrong?
Yeah, it makes sense.
You know? And then Bestman says, we all know somebody likes that, right? Yeah. Is there Baymax says, is there a button on their helmets where the visor glass slides back so the tongues can get through? Well,
like the painting in Goonies when he sticks his tongue in it. Hey, Mikey, how do they like a little kiss?
Well, yeah.
Mikey,
give me a little
kiss. Yeah.
I always love when one of the kids is like, that's my mom's favorite part.
Yeah.
You just hear one of the kids say that.
Yeah. You wouldn't be here if it wasn't. Shut up, Bill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But his comment is in reference to the witness. No fucking because it is not the way. Oh, yeah. Anyways, though, yeah, I don't think there's I don't think that's implying that there's a cut scene where they fucking kiss. If they had Pedro Pascal in that season, I think they would have kissed. I think Pedro Pascal and Katie Sackhoff probably would have wanted that. There probably would have been more to play with on that front. And because they didn't have them, it's just literally off the table. That's why as the show goes on, I'm not like pro getting rid of Din. I'm pro getting Pedro back and not doing shit with him. Don't do stuff with Din if you don't have him, like in totality. You know, at least I mean overall. I mean, because it held it's holding that show back. You know, at the end of the day, that's what I think, anyways. But yeah, Bespin, send me the final clip again, because I was just trying to dig through it. I've taken like 99 screenshots of bullshit since yesterday, so I've lost the video. But yeah, I'm looking forward.
Screenshots in a minch ain't one.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
All right, there it is. Yeah, see, it still ends up being okay. I think I'm able to save it again. So yesterday he made us a video, right? Bespin Fullerton, and it turned out he made an even better version.
My wife heard me laughing from outside the house. Like she was outside, she heard me laughing. So when the Batman music starts playing and Costanza's eating the ice cream, it's so funny. It's so good. It's so good.
Wait, where's it at? All right, there it is. All right, is this it? No, here it is. Come on, computer, wake the fuck up. Yeah, I'm like airdropping it over. Oh, there it goes. Okay, so this is his final version. You guys ready?
He's Bruce Wayne is Batman? I am in reality Batman. All right, come on. Let's get nuts.
You hear him? He says, "Let's get nuts." He's got it all. Yeah, pretty good.
That's a good one. Good. We gotta put that on YouTube. Let's put that on the channel. Let's upload it.
He should put it on his. Cool. He should put it on his TikTok when Batman comes out. I think, you know.
Bespin, you should be giving these to Patreons, right? You should be like, here's the video, buddies. You know.
Oh yeah, Julian, thank you for being a channel member. By the way, if I've never thanked you, I appreciate it. And Baymax and everybody else, I appreciate it. Like, I appreciate the support. Julian says, "Does Sabine have long hair in the first or second half? Because she fights Shin with long hair. It looks like." Yeah, that's something. I don't know. I'm not sure how it goes. I feel like the long hair might be like the actual like look to show that time has passed from when she had the short hair, because she had short hair in the epilogue from Rebels. So based off of that, that's my assumption of how it goes. But we'll have to, like, you know, as more TV spots drip in, we'll be cognizant of that and see if we can figure out how the timeline works. But I would say that it, like, yeah, the difference in her hair at the very least does confirm that we have two different time periods going on. And there's always a chance she has short hair, long hair, and cuts it when they go back out in the field, right? Like, that's completely possible too. So, but yeah, we'll look into that though, because that's a really good point. All right, everybody, we're gonna call it a show, and we'll be back tomorrow. Covering all of the Star Wars news. Yeah, we will. I think
we
will.
The show on Thursday.
I think we'll do it early though. I think we'll do it early. Bestman says the epilogue thing takes place halfway in though, so long hair first. She has long hair when Ahsoka shows up and tells her something is coming. Right. That makes sense, but it's also kind of weird that she's fighting Shin with the long hair. So
they could just be using a hair thing to show time. If you told there's two different periods,
that's what it is. But the what's weird about it is we have Shin going after her at that point. So for all maybe she's been chased by Shin for, like, maybe this has been an ongoing thing, and we're gonna learn that, like,
Shin wants her $2.
You know. So yeah, I mean, And that's where I think Julian brings up a good question. So Shin is in the first half, and so I'm almost like based off of that thinking that Shin might be after her for a while. Maybe there's something to that. Maybe Thrawn, they are mercenaries who are working for Thrawn, and they did fuck Thrawn over. So maybe Thrawn's essentially put a bounty on her. Maybe she's in that.
Look, these shows would have to be written in a radically different way for all that to happen. I hope so.
No, this literally happened.
Generally, really straightforward.
No. But in this show, I believe we have 3 time periods. I believe we have the epilogue to Rebels, we have our opening, present tense, and then we have a time jump when we get into the last 4 of when they end up out into the place. So, yeah, I mean, but the whole question we have is, where do these places fit in? And like I knew that. Well, here's one thing I said it before, but I don't know if people picked up on it. But Shin and Balin, at first, we believed were out with Thrawn only. But we know that Shin and Balin start in the core worlds with Morgan Elsbeth. So I'm going to guess that Shin goes after her at that point. Maybe when Ahsoka shows up to take her with her, maybe Shin has followed her. Because Ahsoka's already been out there fucking up business for Morgan. And maybe that's sort of how that goes. It would make a lot of sense. And I will say though, based off of classically, like I remember back in the day fucking having to fight with the Hasbro people about when Star Wars Rebels was coming out, they wouldn't make Hera and they wouldn't make Sabine. They were being total fucking idiots about it. And there was like a whole thing. Like they started DMing me and shit, and I'm like, you guys are fucking up. You're being fucking idiots. You guys are deciding that girl toys don't sell because you don't fucking make them. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. So Baymax says they have to do multiple different looks, and they showed us to sell toys, and I'm like, will they even really go that far with it? Well, you know what I mean? To what extent will they do the variant? Because based off of how it went in the past, we're lucky to even get one. But I hope that's not true. I hope I'm wrong. He says there's 5 different Black Series Kenobis from the 1 series. Jesus Christ, yeah, but he had different costumes and shit. So Ahsoka will definitely get different looks, but will Sabine? You know what I mean? And will Sabine, when she's not in her Mando gear, get a toy? Or you know what I mean? When she's like long hair, I kind of don't think so. But I would love to be wrong. Hopefully they make it, and hopefully it sells. But at the same time, that's why I got burnt out on the products and the toys, because I know what was really going on behind the scenes on a lot of that shit, and it's just soul crushing and stupid. And you know what I mean?
No, I've been there.
Yeah, they fucking.
I have fought this. I remember telling. Look, I'm a different breed. When I was a kid, I want to say around 85, 86, I was in my uncle, my bigger uncle moved into this apartment complex, and they had one of those like little like play areas, in the quad, like the apartment complex fits around it, so it's in the center. Yeah. So I was in the little sandbox playing by myself, no one out there. And I look in the sandbox, and there's a Tila figure, the Tila He-Man with the snake outfit and shit, and I was.
No,
keeper, bro. And I was so excited.
Evil Lynn.
But like,
wait, no. Tila had the snake thing. Yeah.
She didn't have it in the show. She had it as the figure.
Yeah, she had that like Cobra kind of thing that went on her. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, I was super excited because that was like almost impossible no one had that figure.
Yeah.
And I remember bringing that to my friends at school, and those fuckers just roasted my ass for the better part of a fucking year. I didn't care, man. I loved it. I was like, but. Yeah. I don't know, like maybe that mentality hasn't changed,
Well, no, what they've done a lot of the times, like in the toy industry, with Star Wars specifically, that I know, is, for instance, Lucasfilm misled licensees that Finn, for instance, this happened, was the main character in The Force Awakens. They overproduced Finn figures. Then, when he wasn't the main character, and then it didn't sell, they used it as the excuse that the character is not that relatable, isn't that big of a deal, and blah 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 blah. But the story didn't service the product, and then the product in the end made their self-fulfilling prophecy correct.
Right.
That's how it happens.
Brandon likes to say, Rob complaining yesterday the Apple headset doesn't play 3D movies, but they literally showed them playing 3D movies in an announcement using Avatar as an example. Yeah, I didn't watch the fucking 2-hour-long fucking demo of an iPhone as a goggle. I said it may not. My bigger fear was that you'll have to use whatever's in their ecosystem. And there's going to be a lot of 3D movies not available. And I like to be able to stream mine because I physically own all my 3D movies and I've ripped them. To which, Apple doesn't really allow you to use anything that isn't outside their ecosystem. So, my complaint at the end of the day was that's a $3,500 system, Brandon. Like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And my real complaint for the PSVR 2 was that it doesn't, like that.
I mean, at the end of the day, a little tube could come out and suck your dick. You're not going to be able to afford it, so it doesn't matter anyway.
Baymax you got me, Brandon. You got me. I got that one wrong. That fucking wrong box.
Yeah, well, I figured it would, and if it didn't, it would. But once
totally
again,
worth $3,500 now, Brandon. Go have at it.
When we were covering it, you couldn't just go watch like the things like that from it. So yeah, Baymax says they'll likely make the action figures first. And/or Black Series figures right now are peg warming. Doesn't everybody like pegging? Because they're not action figures. Book of Boba Fett sells toys, and/or not so much. Yeah, and that is another like thing to consider. Is like, the young people who would play with the toys are not going to connect with Andor in the same way, and then want to play with those kinds of figures. So it's like, I think it's a little strange that they did Black Series.
Andor wins Peabody's and Boba Fett, Book of Boba Fett, not so much.
Mm-hmm.
So you gotta just choose. Do you
Peabody's,
want to win awards? Do you want to sell toys? But you can do both, right? Some
shows
can do one
Peabody's
thing, shows can do another.
Peabody's don't cash checks, but at the same time, Peabody's keep adults interested. So
they also cash prestige, which that studio's constantly trying to sell you. So at least some shows are actually living up to the legacy of Lucasfilm that they like to promote all the time, right?
Yeah,
big golden logos and shit.
Says Azure says they didn't sell Lego Kylo shuttle was black, so Lego made it gray and it was poorly made. Yeah, I also remember at the time buying like Star Wars Battleship for my kids, and it fucking stunk. It smelled so fucking awful.
That's cheap plastics.
Yeah, it was fucking awful. Yeah, and it was cheap and it was a piece of shit. So
they may have, I'm not going to say what country of origin they shipped it to, but we had specifically, this is why we had the exclusive Lego license for the longest time for apparel.
Mm-hmm.
And this place I was at, and they decided to ship them to separate countries to get them done cheaper, and didn't tell Lego, and it was being produced with the worst kind of plastisol you can imagine. The Lego shirts, you could smell them from like a mile away. Like, you walk into Walmart, you could almost smell them. Like, I'm being a little hyperbolic, but not really. And Lego flipped out on it. This is how I'm not being hyperbolic. So they went and said all of our shirts will be made with water-based ink.
Oh yeah, you've told me about that before.
Yeah, which is like a fucking 100 to 200% cost increase, and they're like, we don't care if you don't make Lego shirts because we don't make money. This is just promotion. We don't give a shit. So either you make it with the fucking water-based ink, or we're done. Because of that sort of thing.
Yeah. Brendan says, I think the headset is stupid too. I just thought it was funny because of the Avatar thing. Listen to the show all the time. You guys are awesome. Hey, I love you, Brendan. Rob just doesn't know how to love. It's okay though. It's okay.
I don't.
I
don't. And I don't love myself. It's everyone else I have a problem with.
And you are Brendan Wayne, the Mandalorian, correct? Like the real Mandalorian.
No, man.
That's Brendan Wayne.
He's the guy who plays Xander.
Brendan didn't want the smoke. Didn't want to catch Rob's hands. all right, guys. The cops are here to get me. I gotta
Speaking
go.
of smoke,
I gotta go. Yeah. Yeah. Well. I think we will do the show earlier tomorrow morning at some point, especially if there's news. I'm doing something tomorrow, so but I don't want to miss the. I want to do the show tomorrow. That's my point. So yeah. So we'll see everybody sometime tomorrow. I'll try to give an update or something about what time that will be if I can. And Rob, I'll let you know, obviously. And
yeah, thanks for that.
You know, I mean, after that blunder yesterday with the Avatar thing on the headset, I don't know. I think you might need a time.
We can all make it up by singing "Happy Birthday" to Filoni.
Oh no! Happy birthday, Dave Filoni. Happy birthday, for he's a jolly good fellow.
I make you write a script and I take the credit.
Oh no, Dave!
Oh no!
No, Dave!
Oh no! I can't say that.
No, Dave.
Yeah. Oh.
He's been that way since he's copied out somebody's homework in like 3rd grade. You know.
I'm telling you right now, if I had a choice between going to Fuddruckers with James Cameron or Dave Filoni, it'd probably be Dave Filoni.
Oh yeah,
he's a vegetarian, you know. But Filoni, I think you could have a good time at Fuddruckers. I wonder if James would eat the brownie. When do you eat the brownie?
Nah, he wouldn't. He would just keep going. Like, I wonder if this is. I wonder if this is vegetarian here. And then you could be like, yeah, dude, this is fucking outlandish. You know, you give something to talk about. All right, bye everybody. Bye Rob. See everybody tomorrow.
It's the end of the show.
Come on, let's go. Hey!
It's the end of the show.
Come on, let's go. Hey!
It's the end of the show.
Come on, let's go.